welcome to a new week, the week of the second Sunday after the Epiphany. And this week we will be focusing as our theme the early ministry of Jesus as he calls out persons from the crowd. He works on them and ultimately he sends them out. Called out, worked out, sent out. This is our focus for this week. I trust and pray that as we reflect on these thoughts that we may find within them some food for ourselves to enable us to journey and to journey well. At this time now we turn to our time of meditation and quiet as we seek to bring ourselves into the divine presence. So coming into our place of stillness, bringing our attention into our bodies, becoming present in our bodies, recognizing the importance of allowing a part of our awareness to always be conscious of our bodies. So much of our time is spent in our heads and in all the mental gymnastics that we do. So right now this morning as we begin this devotion, I want you to become aware of your body. See what you can experience. See what sensations you notice. See if you can feel the pulse of your blood moving through any particular part of your body. See if you can feel any sense of aliveness within your body. Just gently scan your body. We so oftentimes ignore this phenomenal component of ourselves. We pay attention to the external manifestation of it, but we forget that it is the internal workings that causes the external manifestation to be seen as it is. So we bring our awareness into our bodies. Sense in our bodies. Sense in our fingers or toes. Sense in our abdomen. Just being conscious of the body. Allowing ourselves to be aware. To be aware of the aliveness that is within us, that we take for granted. To be aware that we only pay attention when there is some dis-ease. So we seek to be aware, fully aware of ourselves, of our beingness, of our aliveness. And we rest in that awareness. And as we continue to go through this devotion, try to allow some aspect of your awareness to remain conscious of the inner workings of your body. Turning to Mark's Gospel, chapter 3, verse 7. Jesus departed with his disciples to the sea, and a great multitude from Galilee followed him. Hearing all that he was doing, they came to him in great numbers from Judea, Jerusalem, Idumea, beyond the Jordan, and the region around Tyre and Sidon. He told his disciples to have a boat ready for him because of the crowd, so that they would not crush him. For he had cured many, so that all who had diseases pressed upon him to touch him. Whenever the unclean spirits saw him, they fell down before him and shouted, "You are the Son of God." But he sternly ordered them not to make him known. He went up the mountain and called to him those whom he wanted, and they came to him. And he appointed 12, whom he also named apostles, to be with him, and to be sent out to proclaim the message, and to have authority to cast out demons. So he appointed the 12, Simon, to whom he gave the name Peter, James, son of Zebedee, and John, the brother of James, to whom he gave the name Boanerges, that is, sons of thunder, and Andrew, and Philip, and Bartholomew, and Matthew, and Thomas, and James, son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, and Simon the Canaanian, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. Then he went home. The word of the Lord. So this morning, as we reflect in this devotion and the ways in which Jesus calls us out, works on us, and sends us out. In the passage we would have read earlier, it would have recounted the events leading up to the selection of the 12. And Mark is deliberate in speaking of the crowds of persons that were pressing on Jesus and using it as a contrast to indicate that out of those crowds he chose a few. And that's where it ends at this point in time, by the naming of those few that were called out. There is the sense in which the crowd has a part to play. The crowd often gets us into the arena. The mass response gets us close. We as human beings, we love to be part of the in thing, what's happening now. We more often than not enjoy being a part of the crowd, to be in the know. It doesn't always mean to physically be in a crowd, because there are many of us who don't like crowds. But at the same time that we may not like to be in crowds physically, there is that dimension where we still follow the crowd and still accept the understanding of the crowd. The spiritual path calls us out of the crowd. It calls us out of the crowd. That's the first step. And it's a step that we need to acknowledge, that we are called out of the crowd. There's a scripture that says, the one who separates himself intermeddles with wisdom. The crowd takes us close, within striking range. But in order for us to go beyond that, we have to come out of the crowd. And that's what Jesus showed when he called his disciples out of the crowd. So today, as you begin this new week, I'm inviting you to reflect on the call out of the crowd, the call to engage in your own journey, in your personal development, in your personal encounter and response to the call of Jesus. This is a first step, and it is one of the most important steps. Because in the crowd, we don't hear well. For what we often hear is what the crowd has received. And what the crowd receives is often very non-specific. But the journey, your journey, is specific. It's unique. The words that you hear will raise up within you your questions. that you must wrestle with. The ideas that are shared will challenge your journey thus far, your experiences, what you have come to know, what you have come to accept, what you have come to believe. Much of which you would have received from the crowd. But it isn't everything that we receive from the crowd that sits well with us. But when we are in the crowd, we allow. Because we don't want to stick out or to seem out of place or strange or weird. So we don't allow those uneasy feelings to manifest or to surface. But what we don't understand is that there's a reason for those uneasy feelings. And the reason is that we are being called to move beyond those things that we might have accepted from the crowd. Not that they were wrong, but they very well would not be the real story, the full message, the deeper understanding. And as you quite well know, oftentimes when we go to the deeper place, what we have heard before seems really inappropriate and not satisfying. Not that it's wrong, but it just does not answer all of the questions. We see it in the world. There's something called Newtonian physics. And Newtonian physics answers a lot of the questions that are related to how large objects behave and how they impact each other. But unfortunately, Newtonian physics cannot answer how minuscule bodies behave. And so science has had to move to something else, which they now call quantum physics. Not that Newtonian physics was incorrect. It simply was inadequate. That is what the uneasiness within you, as it relates to what you would have received from the crowd. That is what that uneasiness is about. The shift from the larger to the minuscule. The shift from the macro level to the micro level. And it is in the micro level, it is in the smallness that you are being invited to journey. So as you hear this message this morning, I invite you to reflect on that niggling that might very well be within you to move beyond the crowd. And in doing so, not to feel that you are betraying or you're letting down or you're turning your back on, but understand that you're going deeper. You are responding to your journey. And that's why you're here. To journey. To journey and to undertake your soul's journey. Not the journey of the crowd, but your journey. Your soul's journey. Step out. Step out from the crowd and accept that your journey is important. And you have every right in hearing the Master's call to respond and to go deeper. May God guide you through this time